Hello everyone, I am live again, and today's video will be very different from any other day video, because today I will be giving a real-time example of how attacker basically compromise a machine, how they get into a machine, what they do to get after access to the machine, right? How they do the privilege escalation, lateral movement, command execution, how they hide themselves. So we'll be talking about all different cases, how attacker moves from one machine to another machine, and what basically the steps they perform after compromising a machine. And I will be taking some help from here through my trade framework. I have this is we already discussing from last 10 days about different tactics. Now I will be giving you very different examples. I will not be discussing about the individual different technique or sub techniques, but I will be moreover going through from one tactics, and then we'll be discussing one technique which can be used by the attacker after or to gain access to a machine. Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to add into the comment section. I will be keep looking into that. Now let me share my screen with you also, so we can basically understand how an attacker get into a machine, what they do after they have the access to the machine. Let me now start display capture on. I'm adding the video. So to make it easy for you guys to understand, I already have export the MyTrade framework. As you can see, it is in my Excel sheet, and we have all the tactics mentioned on the top. Okay, so now we will understand by an examples also. We will not be discussing about all different sub techniques or techniques, but moreover we'll be selecting one and then moving to other. Okay, so now for example, there is a user attacker. For example, attacker is Mango. Very random name. Mango is a group name, group name of an attackers. They basically try to eliminate everything, or try to extract the important all critical files, not even critical, all they extract all the files exist in the computer machines or servers, and then they destroy it, for example. Yeah, so now for example there's a group name Mango. Okay, attacker group name. So what basically, if they want to target a company, okay, let me take an example. Supermarket company, for example. I love supermarket companies, huh? By the way. So if this group of attacker name of Mango want to attack or target the supermarket company, how they would start the attacking? First, they will start collecting the information about the IP addresses, about the port numbers, about the services running into that, about the versions of services, about the uh, the different modules. They will enumerating the websites. On the website, they will be trying to uh, say the misconfigurations, try to steal the version informations, because when you install any application into a web server, there might be possible that web server and the web application by default shows the version name, the application name, so attacker can also use that. So now they're just collecting the information. Now active scanning might be, let's take a simple example. In active scanning, they did a very simple host discovery scan based on IP range, and this example company is using 5.5.5.0.1255, for example. So this all range is being used by the supermarket company from 1 to 255. Okay, now maybe in these different machines, different IP addresses, might be possible that there are 50 machines live and 50 machines are in DMZ, for example. Okay, so if attacker want to do a active scanning, they have to do send packet to this all different IP block. Okay, so if I'm sending my all packets to this IP block, my packet either will be accept or deny. If I'm communicating through TCP port, I will be sending a SYN packet. If my packet accepted, that means I will receive SYN plus acknowledgement. That means machine is up and port is live. If I'm sending a UDP packet, it's very simple. If I'm sending a packet, if UDP packet is on that machine, either I would receive a response or no response. If port is open, UDP ports do not respond, and if ports are closed, UDP protocol used ICMP protocol to deliver an error message that port is unreachable. If I'm receiving port is unreachable, that means machine is again live, but port is closed. Okay, these are the different ways attacker do scanning. So once they will do active scanning, for example, let me mark this in yellow. Okay, they go to know about the number of the ports running on the machine. They go to know about the enumeration. They can use creative tools, but usually nmap is a very good tools to enumerate the to get the information about live host, operating systems, version, and discovery. Either ICMP is also can be used for sending a ping request. If you get the response, machine is live. Okay, so after doing active scan, they now will be looking the other the tools which they will be using in the attacks. Now, for example, in during that active scanning, they identified the open ports, they identified the open services. They also able to get the information for the employees working in that company through LinkedIn. For example, they saw that these users are a part of the company, so they expel the attacker. The attacker initially in the recon phase, they extract the information of the employees, their name, which company, which designation. Okay, now they might be try to send phishing email also. Okay, because the servers running are hosted in the DMZ, attacker can do the active scanning on the port number, services, uh, modules, applications, vulnerability. But if there is a user, then those users are not publicly exposed, right? To target those users, attackers might send a phishing email. In that phishing email, they might deliver some malicious or Trojan file. They ask user to submit the credentials. Okay, so let's say two cases happen. And their first is they are doing the active scanning on the DMZ, and they're collecting the user information and the employees information also through LinkedIn, and they're targeting phishing email. Mango is like attacker will you know will extract everything, every important useful information. They can get it from the machines or from the network, they'll get it. Okay, that's the reason I actually put the mango, because we do the same with mango, right? Okay, I hope you guys can see and ask your questions if you have any. Unable to see the videos, have you stopped the live streaming? No, Samir, I haven't stopped. Let me check in my mobile as well. Really? Let me see. No, yeah, I can see this is streaming, right? Let me check it my setup. Give me a minute, guys. It's working fine now, huh? Because I didn't stop at it, anything, yeah? Okay. Thank you, Samsher, for confirmation. Now I will be continuing this video. Okay. All right. Let me go back to the Excel sheet. Okay. So first in the recon phase, they will do the scanning for the IP range, port numbers, services, version. Okay, and then they will be extracting employees data, for example, email ID, designation, etc. Then they're targeting the servers also, and they're targeting the employees of that company. So in the resource development, they have to might be, you know, now they can do attack from their own ISP, because if they are using some internet, they're PP getting through ISP, right? Now they can also use some other attacks, as we already discussed about the resource development. They might be buying some VPN servers, they might be buying taking services on the rent, like they're hosting their machines on a cloud network of the Google. There are different hosting providers who allows you to upload your virtual machines into their network, and you can do further attack from there, uh, from that side also. Okay, so they might be buying the domain name which looks like your same company. If you're running a company, for example, I would say what okay, Magistry, yeah, Magistry, Magistry. Just I'm giving a random name. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just giving example. Yeah, Magistry is a company name. Then they might change some spelling. They might change the root level domain. You are using .com. They might buy the same domain with .net, .in, .ae, something, whatever. Yeah. So they might be using the similar domain name but with different root level domain. And now, so for example, they have acquired something. They If they identified this company has, they might try to log into some other web application which is being hosted by your company. Yeah. So I would say exploiting web application and phishing marking and trusted relationship. Okay. And valid account also, because now attacker basically trying to exploit the vulnerabilities in the web application or server. They might be sending, because don't just think that they will come from one entry gate. Okay, there might be multiple gates, and attacker will take advantage if they're really targeting your company. They will not rely on keep trying it. They keep doing their best and trying to look for the options how they can enter into your network. Okay, and they might be doing brute force to your accounts also. They might be using some trust relationship, as I mentioned. They might be buying the similar domain name, Magistry, right? Wrong. The company domain was .com. They're using similar domain name with the sub root level domain .net. Okay, and now after the sending phishing emails, trusted relation valid accounts, so now you might see brute force also in your shop. You might see phishing emails coming with the impersonating domains, and you might see IPS address signatures also being triggering, right? So SOC team can see these old signatures being hitting into their security control devices. Now, after we talk about execution, right? Now let me just say a command and scripting interpreter. Okay, schedule task, user executions. Okay, now if we talk about the execution, right? So if you are sending any phishing email, if you have some malware files, if you are executing that malware files, yeah, if you have get the access to the application after exploiting it, then you might need to deliver the payload also for the execution. So basically, why you are exploiting payload? Because you want some action on that machine after exploiting the vulnerability, right? You might be open to Kelsey, you might be open to another port, you might to communicate from, you want to initiate a reverse connection from that compromised machine to your attacker machine, right? So they are executing commands. I would mark user execution. They might be asking user to click on something, and then we can see command and scripting interpreter. Okay, exploitation of client execution. Okay, so this basically trying you to click on the malware or Trojan file. So you will take into that and you will execute their code. Okay, even after the exploiting the vulnerability. Okay, attacker can run the payload after the exploitation of the, as a we can say, the output of the exploit. Okay, then persistence. Now we would say that after they This is initial access, so they could now phishing. We'll talk about phishing, brute force, impersonating domain, exploiting non vulnerabilities. Okay, now they you might as user will execute malware trojan in the email. Okay, or attacker will execute payload after exploiting the vulnerability. Now attacker have control on their machine. They have received the reverse connection from the compromised machine to the attacker. Now, usually what I have seen, what I did also, when I want to compromise a machine, I would like to get the access of the CMD or PowerShell. Okay, through kind of a terminal. By through I can send some command and will give instruction to the operating system to execute this function or to these codes. Okay, now if I will having the control over that machine, then I will be going through the persistence. What persistence means? That persistence, I want to maintain my access. I want even machine rebooted, even you, for example, if I exploit a vulnerability in the Java, for example, a version 1.1, for example, I'm just giving a basic example, and you find out after 10 days there's a vulnerability on your machine and you patched it. Okay, now attacker cannot exploit, because to run that payload, attacker have to always keep exploiting the vulnerability, but attacker will not do that, because there is a rare chances they will do continuously. They will try to maintain their access, they will try to be persistent in their device. So after getting the initial access, after executing the payload, they will set up their persistence section access. They might be looking for some other way they can get into the machine even after the patching of that affected vulnerability. Okay, so they can manipulate the account, they can create some account which is a VPN users. If they have got the root level access or the admin level access, right, they manipulate, they might change the password for the user never expire. They might modify the policies for the account that do not log any activity in the AD. They can create the accounts, to hide themselves. They can create legit accounts, and you might be thinking this activity is being performed by legit users only. It got stuck. Yeah, actually I'm not sure why it getting stuck. Jolly, can you please confirm, man? Are you able to hear me clearly, or is there any issues you are facing? Huh? Let me test it my side. Huh? Why this is taking so much time? Huh? I don't know, guys. I'm trying my best. Huh? Let me change my network. Huh? Actually, I can use my Wi-Fi, but I'm using my mobile network, huh, to for live to be on live in this net. Let me see. I'm now switched to my mobile network for my mobile as well. Let me see if I can hear myself clearly or not. It is running fine for me, guys. Yeah. I will continue, guys. Huh? Just please highlighting the same in the comment section. So I will be looking into that. Might be have a stop in between, but we'll try to cover this by today only. Yeah? Okay. Let me see the recording also. Why this is being stopped? If that is the reason, guys, mm, let me change something at my platform side. If I can modify settings, I can go to the stream, audio, video. I cannot do anything as of now, guys. Either I can stop in between. I will continue tomorrow. Let me see. Okay, so I can see as per the YouTube, the connection is excellent. I will be continuing, yeah, guys. Let me now go back to this. Okay, so we were talking about the persistence, right? So they can create an account. They might be creating an admin account which you are not aware. You might see some activity would say it's a legit account. The internal user, they might create system accounts. They might be creating an account which looks like service account. So you might be closing the alert by saying service account activity. They might be creating scheduled tasks. Yep. They will be using valid accounts. They might be dumping the password hashes from the memory of the RAM, and they're using those accounts, and they might be moving from here and there through RDP. But you are seeing this is all legit active, because legit activities by the admin users. They can modify the registries also. They can install the extension in a browser also. Yeah, so these are the basic way. I'm telling you, two-step persistence. This is the way attacker can be stay hide into the network without giving any alerts, or if without giving any pop-up to you that I'm here only. So they even after patching your vulnerability, attacker will be still in your network. Yeah. Okay. They might be pre-OS boot. I have to read about it, but usually attackers, what they do, they put the files in startup entries. In Windows we have some startup path where we can upload a malware file even after machine reboot. The startup file will try to execute all applications under that folder. So they will play smartly. They will keep their malware to every time execute, not by the attacker or by any exploitation, but by the operating system itself, through scheduled tasks, through reboot. They can create accounts. These are the ways they can step persistence, right? If you talk about the privilege escalation, then they can again, for example, there's a scheduled task is running, and the scheduled task is running by the system account privileges, and everybody have the right access. Even anybody on this machine have the right access. So attacker, what they will do, they will modify the scheduled task to create another root admin account, because scheduled task is being run through admin privileges, right? So and more direct permission to everyone. So they can use this to escalate the privileges. For example, if I got the access to that machine with a normal user account like Vikram, but Vikram has a normal user account, but I found some scheduled task which is being run through system account, and the permission on that scheduled task is right by anybody. So now Vikram can also can modify the content of the scheduled task. If I will modify the scheduled task content, I would say run this code net space user account, create an account name, and then I will add account to the admin groups also through CLI, that I can do that. So they will be using scheduled task. They again trying to modify the system process. They might be injecting into the regiment process boot auto start. Okay, let me there are other ways of doing the exploitation. If I would say simply, there are some simple I'm sure if you're working in a SOC, you have seen, if we have pressed shift 5 times, then a pop-up comes up, right? Attackers, after getting the access, they can also replace the CMD with this set file. So they can press shift 5 times and they will get access to the command prompt. So there are different ways to get the privilege escalation on the machine also. They can add a user account to admin groups. They can inject into the process which is being by legit process. They can modify the scheduled task. They can modify the process also to the way they're expected to, if there's any script also they can use it, right? And after the product escalation, let me just select few contents also from the defense evasion. I would say rootkit. We can use obfuscation file or information. I will take very simple example. If you have any malware file, you can, or if you have any code which you can obfuscate, then might be AV will not have a signature for that, right? And then AV will never able to find, you will not have any signature on the OSINT virus tool also. You will be assuming that this file is clean reputation. They can modify the registry, they can disable the security mechanisms to detect if any unsigned files are there. They can modify the registries also, yeah, because the operating system also don't allow any unsigned file to execute. They can modify it also. They can disable your antivirus, they can remove the antivirus, yeah, so they can evade from the detection mechanisms in your machines. Okay, then credential access. Now they will be in the man in the middle attack. They might be enabling your ports which connect to the switch is in a span port. Span port will sniff all the network packets here and there and will be seeing the clear text if there is any authentication through the telnet services or any insecure protocol which is being used in the network. They can capture, they can install the keyloggers into the machine. They can capture the screenshots if you're going through any websites. They can dump your passwords also through the OS in the like LSS, ASS. If you remember about, if you know about that, they can brute force to the admin accounts. They can do password spell attack. They can do brute force attacks, and they can guess the normal top passwords which being used, or what we can say. This is enough, right? So now discovery. After the get access to the machine, right? After get into the machine with root level admin access, right? They might do the scans. They might do the scans from the compromised machine. Why? Because they want to understand what other machines connected I'm connected with, and if there are any files which can be used or which can be exfiltrated, that will be good for attacker, right? Attacker is into your network to steal the information. So they might be looking for the trust between the domains. They might be looking for the domain accounts. They might be looking for super admin accounts. They might be looking for open shares. They might be looking for the SharePoint access. They might be looking for the policies configured in your AD's infrastructures, right? They might be looking for the let me just read about something. Account discovery. They can look for the accounts, yeah, and then they can look for the they can send the request to the registries of the other machines also to see the what other software they're running with, what are the version of their services. So they can also do the software discovery through the sending the code to the register through CMD or PowerShell. System owner user discovery, network sniffing, group policy, file discovery, trust discovery, right? Okay, then after they understand their other machines also connected with the compromised machine, now they have to, once they next collect the information, now they have to move, they have to log into those machines. They might be logging, for example, if for example there is a machine A, attacker compromised that machine, attacker dumped the passwords, attacker got other 5 user accounts also. Attacker will use those accounts to log into the other machines, right? Because when you are logging into the RDP application is still active, attacker can also edit the session also. Now attacker will be moving from one machine to the another machine. Might be that machine which attacker compromised is have two interface, two different VLAN IDs are connected with. So attacker can easily move here and there, and attacker can also use that machine as a pivot, right? Lateral tool transfer. They can transfer the tools also from one machine to another machine. Remote services, they can exploit the remote service also. Collection, again similar kind of collection, like they can capture your audio, they can man in the middle attack, email collection, for example, very simple example, after getting into their access to Outlook, they can steal their accounts if it's in your address book, right? They can video capture, the screen captures, same thing, right? Okay. Command and control. So now they want to make sure, after communicating to your machines, after stealing all the information, how they should send the instruction, right? That should be also a path. Like they might be using encrypting channels, they might be using tunneling, right? So these such mechanisms easily to identify with DNS protocol, AD protocol, VNC, TeamViewer, AnyDesk, right? Peer-to-peer applications. They can use proxy, and they can use such applications to to get access. They can use port number 443, because usually SOC analysts think that the communication going towards port 443 is always legit. No, we have to first check why this traffic is going, when it is going, since when it is going, which IP, what is the reputation, what is the port, what is the process basically communicating with, what is the hash value of the process, to conclude is it true or false. Then exfiltrating, right? Again, the same mail communication channel, they can steal the information. They can create a scheduled task to send data at every 10 minutes, like 5 MB. Every 10 minutes 5 MB data is going out, and you might not able to track those such items. Exfiltration also, they might be putting that data to the cloud accounts, right? They are using some other social sites, they are uploading the data onto the websites. And then impact, after they steal all the information, they might drop a ransomware, they might delete your files, they might be deleting your shadow files, they might be defacing your websites also, they might be stopping critical services, they might be doing some restriction, they might be deleting some OS files also. So your machine will be stop responding, and you will be having impact onto the network. Okay, so guys, please feel free to add a comments if you have got any confusion or doubts. I will try to cover up tomorrow. I think this is good for today. So far, so good. Take care. Bye bye.